MrBeast isn't the king of YouTube for no reason. When it comes to creating the most random and exciting videos, rest assured he's ready to pull the most insane stunt. A year ago, MrBeast surprised us all with his 7 days challenges. 7 videos where he performed the craziest activities for 7 days. From being confined to a room to being buried alive for 7 days, here's all you need to know about MrBeast's 7-day challenges. 7 days in solitary confinement. When MrBeast came out with his 7 days in solitary confinement video, some netizens were quick to question whether or not he'd taken things too far. Why so? In the video, MrBeast undergoes a sensory challenge that deviates far from his usual style of content. His usually exciting and happy-go-lucky challenges took a dark turn, replaced by his voluntary confinement to a white-boxed, cell-like room for 7 days. Raising the stakes, he demanded to be left in solitude, with nothing but his company, and that of a spider named Steve. As the days melted into nights, MrBeast found himself engaging in weird activities, such as making shadow puppets, and even having imaginary conversations. For his daily meals, he was fed nothing more than some lukewarm, slot-delivered mush, a meal that left him yearning for the flavors and textures he was used to. But perhaps the most laborious aspect of the entire video was watching MrBeast struggle with the absence of human interaction. 7 days later, the YouTuber looked completely broken as he emerged with a newfound appreciation for human connection and the freedom of open spaces.
Bright light. It's like the ceiling is awesome.
It's the happiest I've seen you in a long time.
Honestly, I thought it was perpetually just gonna be 24 hours forever.
Although the video ends on a lighter note with MrBeast revealing that he surprised his crew with a well-deserved vacation, it is a reminder of the psychological toll of isolation and the basic human need for connection. 7 days buried alive. Before MrBeast took on the task of surviving solitary confinement, he was lowered into a coffin where he spent the next 7 days buried alive. Wearing nothing but a suit and armed with a walkie-talkie, MrBeast was pulled down into the ground in a state-of-the-art transparent coffin, complete with food and water to begin this underground journey. To document the process and make sure nothing went south, he also had cameras in strategic positions. To get the actual feel of being underground, the YouTuber, along with his friends, employed an excavator to slap 20,000 pounds of mud atop the coffin, all while ensuring that it was below the surface. When he was all buried in, he said that he was entrusting his life to this coffin for the next 7 days. With a disclaimer for daredevils like himself to not try this at home, the challenge kicked off. Despite the safety measures put in place, the 7-day dirt nap was extremely exhausting for MrBeast. Even though he'd voluntarily agreed to be lowered into the ground, he broke out in tears on several occasions.
Do another 24 hours in here. I'm at my limit, but it doesn't even matter. There's just not 24 hours left. I just don't, I refuse to believe that.
Including when he was being taken out of the casket. The mental stress aside, there was also the risk that he might get blood clots in his legs and would be unable to stand as a result. Luckily, he survived without experiencing any injury. Well, that's if you don't count the mental agony he suffered. 7 days stranded on an island. Garnering millions of views and positive reactions, MrBeast's 7 days stranded at sea video wasn't quite as brutal as being buried alive. Unlike the previous tasking challenges, the video starts with MrBeast and his team basking in the comfort of a luxurious yacht. All participants are blindfolded and transported to an undisclosed location, and upon arrival, the veil is lifted. Surprised to see they've been brought to a deserted island with only 2 meager boxes of food, 2 water barrels, and basic building materials, the participants kick into survival mode. As soon as they get settled in, they construct a basic shelter with their combined skill sets, demonstrating the importance of teamwork in the face of adversity. However, survival on the island is a relentless challenge. The group crafts fishing tools, sets traps, and scavenges for food, facing constant setbacks. Yet, their determination never wavers even in the face of isolation, which unsurprisingly takes an emotional toll on them. Thankfully, they're able to share stories and perform small rituals, both of which help keep hope alive. And as the days pass, they fight for rescue, building fires and sending distress signals, driven by the instinct to survive. Finally, after 7 grueling days, they are saved with a newfound lesson in resilience and teamwork.
See, but after this challenge, I kind of forgot how to interact with humans.
Where are you going?
It's actually relieving to not stare at a bright light. It's like the ceiling is awesome.
But this is a piece of cake in comparison to the previous challenge the team took on. 7 days in an abandoned city. This challenge is by far one of the hardest MrBeast has put himself through. Journeying to an abandoned city in Croatia, the YouTuber, along with his team and crew, decided to spend the next 7 days trying to survive. The challenge, shot in Kupari, a deserted Croatian coastal town close to Dubrovnik, featured 7 dilapidated hotels, the oldest of which is known as was built in 1920. According to reports, the town has remained abandoned since the Croatian War of Independence in 1991. To keep the team fueled, they were handed a supply of goods, including water, instant food, and sleeping bags, all of which they stored in their camp in an exposed building. Originally, the group set up their base in the building on the first day, but not only were they exposed to severe cold at night, but 2 team members had woken to the noise of glass shattering. The challenge was so difficult that at some point, 2 team members had to pull out, choosing to leave the city when half of their water supply was destroyed.
Now, they're gonna be walking through that door, so I'm gonna clean up the place. It's a little messy, you know. I was trying to make up an excuse to clean, but in reality, I'm just bored.
This left MrBeast and a few others to complete it. When it was all over, MrBeast shared that the hardest part to combat was definitely loneliness. Speaking of, this next challenge left the team stranded in the middle of the ocean with nothing but fish to communicate with. 7 days stranded at sea. If you thought surviving an abandoned city was difficult, imagine being stranded in the middle of the ocean on nothing but a raft. Isolated on a raft, MrBeast and his friends face extreme conditions: scorching sun, unpredictable weather, seasickness, and the ever-present challenge of finding food and water. In MrBeast's words, the challenge went from fun to a literal nightmare. With their supplies dwindling by the hour, the team resorts to fishing, rationing, and even drinking filtered seawater to stay alive. On the bright side, they end up making friends with a bird they name Brian. But beyond the obvious physical challenges, the video also captures the psychological toll of isolation. As the days drag on, frustration and exhaustion set in.
There's just no world where there's more than 24 hours left. I can't do another 24 hours in here. I'm at my limit, but it doesn't even matter. There's just not 24 hours left. I just don't.
Testing their patience and morale. Thankfully, their camaraderie keeps them going as they joke, strategize, and support each other through the toughest moments. With the 7 days all wrapped up, the team is rescued and returned to civilization. 7 days stranded in a cave. Clearly, spending 7 days in an abandoned city wasn't petrifying enough for MrBeast, who decided that the next best step in his content creation journey was to willingly live in a cave for 7 days. In the video, his team sets up camp, using primitive methods to cook food and sleeping in hammocks. Honestly, it all looks pretty cozy. To ensure everyone was keeping safe and that nobody got hurt, the services of 2 safety experts were employed, one of whom MrBeast ended up gifting 50,000 New Zealand dollars as a token of appreciation. Seeking the mysteries of the claustrophobia-inducing space, the team ventures deep into the cave, suited up with the necessary equipment to survive a whole week. However, even though the expedition began simply, it soon became dangerous, especially when flooding occurred as they traveled deeper into the cave. Slowly, the team shifted through the fast-moving waters underground, ensuring that they remained safe at all times.
Made me learn a little bit about myself, but in reality, all I'm walking away with is the newfound skill of being able to throw things out a conveyor belt door.
Finally, their journey came to an end after witnessing beautiful bioluminescent glowworms stuck to the cave's ceiling. Speaking of caves, MrBeast's recent venture into an underground city for 7 days will leave you speechless. 7 days exploring an underground city. In the most recent 7 days video, MrBeast and his team took to exploring a 1,000-year-old tunnel system at Salina Turda, a historic salt mine located in Turda, Romania. The remarkable site, often referred to as an underground city, features vast chambers, intricate tunnels, and unique attractions, making it an ideal setting for such an adventurous video. The exhilarating adventure also features creators like Kai Sennett, iShowSpeed, Vicstar, Gideon, Sam and Colby, Logan Paul, and Lazar Beam, all of whom joined MrBeast to embark on a week-long journey exploring the vast city. Although the city was rather eerie, with MrBeast explaining that the tunnels housed some Romanian citizens during the Second World War, the mix of survival challenges, pranks, and camaraderie turned it into an unforgettable experience. What makes this video stand out is the way it brings together such a diverse cast in a setting unlike anything they've tackled before. The creators engage in friendly rivalries, teamwork, and problem-solving as they race through tunnels, solve puzzles, and navigate the underground labyrinth.
It's actually relieving to not stare at a bright light. It's like the ceiling is awesome.
In the end, the YouTubers survived the entire week and are rescued after 7 days of fun and terror. Which one of these challenges did you enjoy the most? Tell us in the comments. Also, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed this video.